So what I wanted to check in with you today, because what I'm finding two things. One, when I'm connecting with cold or warm leads right now, I keep finding myself in the same, like I keep getting to this point with like a discussion with the seller where it's just like, I just don't feel like we can find a agreement that works.
You're
Some of
bumping
it,
heads.
yeah. And I'm like, do you know Chris Voss, like his whole
I know
strategy?
Chris Voss. Yeah. The
Yeah.
never split the difference.
Yeah. So his
Okay.
strategies, like he kind of talks about like different strategies. And I definitely feel like I'm trying to shift mine a little, but at the end of the day, like I came from healthcare. I'm not a super like strong arm person.
Okay.
So I'm coming into these situations where I want to try to do my first wholesale deal,
Right.
but I'm not like able to see like, okay, out of my buyer pool, like this situation, like I have two properties right now. They want too much down. They're like, oh, I'm open to creative. But then they're like, oh, but I really don't. Like one guy's like, well, I can only do like 50% down. And then like Morby doesn't really work right now because DSCR rates are like through the roof.
Yeah, DSCR rates will kill you. I literally canceled 2 Morbi methods that I converted into just regular creative. I just, in the middle of the transaction, I went back to the seller because now we had a little bit more rapport. And I just was like, hey, listen, this is the scenario with the lender. They just raised the rates on us, 2 points, blah, 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 whatever. How about I just give you a little bit of return yourself and you just be the bank? So it worked out, but I'm not doing any Morbis right now, unless like it's such a crazy area that I know in 2 years, this thing is worth like 10x.
Right. Right. So
Okay.
I guess
Are
one.
you, let me ask you a question really important. Are you talking to mostly sellers that have both a mortgage and equity, or is it sellers that they don't have any equity, but they're completely unreasonable, they also want money on top of you taking over the mortgage?
Mostly those with equity, midway through their loan, maybe, or maybe a third of the way through their loan, or
Got it.
ownership. Because to be honest, I've been like super nervous to try to do sub two. Part of it
Really?
just because, well, I want to do it, but I'm just like, I don't know the mechanics. And then I'm an agent, right, trying to break into wholesale. And I'm like, how the heck do you do this? So I thought today maybe like talk about like some systems that you're using. Like I have no problem gathering data. I'm working on my courage with the cold calls. I'd love to hire somebody. I'm just not there yet. So I just thought I would talk about systems and then negotiation, and then maybe we hop on a call in the future and do another like follow up. But any suggestions to lock up like that first one? Like,
so the first suggestion that I always give people, and I always notice that's where people get lost, is what is the seller's motivation?
Right.
People waste a lot of time talking to sellers that says, yes, I will entertain your offer or your creative option, but they don't have the motivation.
Right. Like one guy, like December, he's like, I don't need to sell until December. So maybe that's a long follow-up.
Okay. So December, why December?
That's when he wants to retire.
Okay. So that guy is a follow-up.
Yeah.
But even on a follow-up, I want to know now, what is the motivation?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to retire. Okay, great. So what's the plan? Are you planning on cashing out and taking a boat? And then, you know what I mean? Like that will tell me I need to know the motivation. It cannot be a vague motivation. Here's a couple of vague motivations. I want to downsize. Okay, that's not a motivation. You get it, but that's your job as a salesperson to dig deeper and get more motivation, because the seller is only going to tell you the surface. They never tell you exactly what it is unless you ask for it. Okay, you want to downsize. Okay, great. What does that look like? Yeah. Are you moving out of state? Are you buying a new house? If you're buying a new house, are you taking a new loan? If you're taking a new loan, what type of loan you're thinking about? Are you putting a big down? You see what I mean? Like I'm going to go so deep. By the time we're done, I can tailor a solution specifically to them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so I want motivation. If I dig deeper and I see no motivation whatsoever, for example, it could look like this. Well, you know what? I want to downsize, but right now I'm just thinking about it. I really don't know. Maybe in 6 months, but I'm even not sure. And then when I downsize, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to buy. I don't know. Like, okay, I know this person, the battle don't even start it yet. They're just a follow-up. They're not ready. But yeah. I am going to call them once a month to make sure they remember my name though.
Yeah.
That's it. My whole follow-up will be that, right? Yeah. Or well, I don't care. I don't even need the money. You know, I'm still in the game. I'm just going to keep it rented if I don't get the price that I'm wanting, blah, 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 in 6 months or right now. Guess what? No motivation. Why? Because they're considering listing.
Mhm.
If they're considering listing, keeping, giving to the daughter, bro, there's not a big motivation there. And if you bring up creative to where they're getting a gain, right? Because they're getting higher number than anybody else, and that don't create motivation, guess what? Should you really waste a lot of time talking to that person? No. Follow up with them in 3 months, see if anything changed. I don't throw them away because things happen. Life happen. We close a lot of deals where the follow-ups, like recently I've closed the seller. We've been following up on that seller for 8 months. 8 months ago, it was like, F you. Right? I'm not interested right now. I'm thinking about giving to my daughter, blah, 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 blah. We don't start negotiating there like it's worthless. Hey, should I just follow up with you in 6 months and see if anything changed? Okay, great. Just so you know, I will be bothering you maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, just so you remember my name, because I know you're getting like 100, 200 calls. Boom. I set that expectation, try to see maybe if I have a little bit more rapport, have them save my number. And guess what? Every single time I call, so I do call follow-ups, and then I do text too.
Yeah.
My call could look literally like this, right? Hey, Shani's Mama, do you remember me? Oh, Mama, I don't know. You see, exactly. That's what I told you. I'm going to follow up with you. So here I am. How's your day?
Yeah.
Right? How is this property? Anything new? Anybody offer you the price you're looking for? Blah, blah, blah. Are you close to a decision? 5 minutes and I'm out. Boom. Now they remember my name again for maybe 1 day. 3 days later, they forget it. It's the name of the game. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So people are too quick to give up.
What
Yesterday,
about, what about like motivated? Like, what about people that are motivated or they say
people
they're
that are motivated is either one, you're explaining the benefits for them wrong. 2, you're not handling the objections the right way.
Okay.
Every single time a seller asks me a big down payment,
Yeah.
every single time is an objection.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What is the objection? The objection is, I don't trust you. I don't know who you are. And if you default, I have to go to court and foreclose. That's a lot of expenses. So if you give me a 50,000 or 100,000 or
200%,
right?
Yeah. 50.
Then you have skin in the game, and maybe you won't default. Maybe you won't let the tenant trash my house. You see, even though they're saying give me 50,000 down, what am I hearing me? I'm not hearing you want 50,000 down.
Yeah.
Okay, so typically I try to address first, why do you need all that money? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
Right. Listen, I'll tell you this, right? I promise you, everything is in your tonality. Like the confidence you have when you ask these people questions is everything.
I know. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure of it.
Is everything. I don't have sellers tell me, I don't even get fazed by a seller telling me that's not your business. No, it is my business. Because if I'm gonna buy the property, and here's the reason why I'm asking you, then I go into third-party stories. For example, it could be an example, right? Hey, the reason I'm asking is because we're not a one-trick pony like a lot of investors calling you, like they can only offer cash. We have multiple strategies. That's the reason I'm asking you. I'm not trying to be intrusive, but it is kind of my business if you're truly interested in selling. So are you truly interested in selling? Boom, I hit them I slap them politely. But it's all in your confidence. So it's like, okay, why do you need the money? Yeah. If the answer they're giving me is BS, then I go back to say, hey, you know what? Usually when sellers ask me such a big down payment, because I can go to the bank right now and give them 20% down.
Yeah, well, what I give you,
brand new loan and a brand new house, right?
Exactly.
Right. Here's the reason why most sellers ask me that, and then I give them examples. So usually it's because sellers are afraid they have to foreclose on me. Then the house is trash. They don't trust me yet. They don't know who I am. They haven't seen my website. They haven't seen this. So I don't have that credibility yet. So which bucket do you fall into? Usually they just, yeah, you're right. I don't know if you're from Adam's Cats. Plus your name is Mama Dow. I don't know. Maybe you in Nigeria scamming. I'm telling you, I get all this stuff all the time, right? So now I used to get fazed by it, but now I don't care, right? But I use it to my strength now. But regardless, it doesn't. The key point is always either one. Like yesterday, Saturday, I had to, one of my acquisitions gave up on multiple leads just because he already called them 7 times. And he's like, well, I'm calling this agent. He told me he's excited about the terms, blah, blah, blah. But now he's no longer picking up. I'm like, okay, how many times did you call him? And they're finding out maybe 7 times. Okay, when's the last time you called him? 2 weeks ago. Well, you haven't been following up, right? Yeah. I sat there on a Zoom. I dialed that agent 7 freaking times. straight, back to back, boom, boom, boom. He keeps sending me to voicemail. At the 7th call, he freaking picked up and he was chasing his daughter around, and we had a great conversation.
Great.
Right? Salespeople, like we're naturally lazy. We have to remember that. The reason we're entrepreneurs is because we're lazy. That's the only reason we're entrepreneurs. That's true. So we have to like sometimes remind ourselves, listen, am I being lazy right now, or am I trying to force these people to sign something because I need a deal?
Yeah.
And so I'm not objective on the call. Okay.
Yeah.
So
The thing you're telling me with it's an objection. That's exactly what it is.
that's it.
That's where I'm thinking where's this buyer? Where's this buyer that would do this? But you're right. It's just an objection. So like he's motivated. He wants the down payment. He says to buy something in Puerto Rico, but he also said he's selling his business. He has a nice property. It's cash flowing right now. I wish it could work, but the numbers just don't. So then I guess the follow-up would be like, I'm sure, like maybe call it out and be like, I'm sure you're apprehensive about this, but can you kind of go into why you need so much up front?
Yeah. Hey, 1 or 2 reasons. This is the thing, like it's super challenging, like on a 30-minute call. And then even let's say even on a 1-week call.
Yeah.
Because the reality is like, how new are you to calling people on the phone?
Pretty new, like honestly.
New. So I'm telling you right now, you're going to suck at doing this. I've talked to so many sellers that now is natural to me.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I didn't pick up this type of. So just because I've talked to so many people, I notice a pattern. Does that make sense? So now it becomes to me naturally. But for you right now, you have to think about it. So I'm telling you right now, like you're going to suck on it in the beginning. So don't worry about it. What you need to do right now is to say, hey, by the way, you want to be a great closer? Third-party story is your best friend. I'm telling you, like Pace says it all the time, but it's so damn true. Every single time I close a seller, third-party story is how I answer their questions. Or examples, always third-party story is how I come up with, hey, this is just an objection. I can understand. I try to find which bucket they fall in. So this one right here, for example, is, okay, hey, I understand it doesn't seem, either it seems like you need the money, but there is 1 or 2 reasons why sellers always ask me 50,000 down. Is either one, they really need the money for a specific reason. But if you're buying something in Puerto Rico and you're telling me you're selling a business, do you really need all that money, right? That could be the route. I don't know what the answer is going to be. He's a human being. I don't know what he's going to answer it, right? And then you just carry the conversation there. Second thing is, I really did a horrible job at explaining the benefits for you selling this way. Third is because the seller is concerned and confused. Number 1, they don't trust me. Number 2, they're worried if they ever have to foreclose on me. That's the reason why they ask me such big down payments. Because we're buying properties all across the US. I mean, all across, you can give them like 3 states if you want, or 1 state. We're buying like 5% down, sometimes 0% down. Their sellers don't even have equity, so we just take over the mortgage. It's like, for me giving you 50,000 down, I can buy 5 properties with it, right? So it's like, but it doesn't mean he's going to go for it. But you can just go, hey, if you find out that he really needs the money, that's one of creative finance deal killers. If they really need the money, there's nothing you can do. So usually what I try to do is, let me look at my exit strategy and see if a 50,000 down is justified by my exit. So for example, if I can do Airbnb or sober living and the cash on cash return makes sense because of the high cash flow, well, 50,000 might not be that bad, depending the area, depending the long-term appreciation, depending my cash flow, depending if the state is a red or blue state. If it's in a red state, laws are more favorable. So I will be more lenient to, okay, the cash on cash return makes sense. 50,000, my worst case scenario, I don't have to spend a lot of money because the property is maybe turnkey. You know what I mean? Like, how can I, and then now I look at my exit. If my exit doesn't justify the 50K, guess what I do? I pull away. Hey, listen, we're not a good fit right now. This is like maybe in 2 or 3 calls. This is not a 1 call, by the way.
That was one of my questions for you, is also like kind of like how to stay.
Don't
you think at it all at once.
One call, you overload people with information. That's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, if they're not ready to make a decision, you're not going to change their mind on it. Number 3, time is your best friend. The more you talk to a seller, the more credibility, the more they're open, the more now they love talking to you, the more they don't want to talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
Because they're still used to talking to you. So like on average, my creative finance deals takes me between 4 to 5 calls to close.
Okay. That's really
so helpful. I don't fight my first battle. Like on the first call, I'm literally just planting seeds, Hey, I'll just follow up. Keep it as a plan B. Try your plan A first. If it works, great. Should I just follow up with you in a week or two and see how that's going? Blah, blah, blah. Depending on the situation, right? Do the same thing on the second call. So is it working out? Do you want to revisit? No, you're not ready. Okay, great. Just making sure you don't forget my name. Boom. 3 to 5 call. Usually they're super open. Now we've talked so much that now they even know how to pronounce Mamadou. We went from Mamadou to now is Mamadou, right? So like, number one, don't rush the process. Number two, when you're talking to sellers, sometimes you have to check yourself. Am I hungry for a deal right now, or am I objective and trying to solve the seller's problem? And if so, do they really have a problem to be solved? And if they have a problem to be solved, is that problem urgent and now? If not, if it's a problem that can wait, boom, there's just a follow-up. Like, don't overthink it. But the way you follow up is important. So plant those seeds, right? If you end up finding out they really need the money, it's not just because they don't know you, they don't have your credibility yet. I don't know what type of credibility you have, but like, guess what? You don't have to overthink it. You're part of the community. Many people have done deals, including myself. If you ask me, I'll send you all my credibility package. You can just send it to them, right? Before I had my own credibility, I used to use Pace Morby's credibility.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too, right?
Don't overthink that.
Yeah.
You have to remember the seller absolutely don't care. Anything the seller tells you, unless they're saying, don't call me again, or otherwise I'll sue you. Everything a seller says that leads to a no is good for you, but it's just an objection. So if you can learn how to overcome it and not overthink it, you know how many sellers I've sent on Pace's YouTube? Right? You know how many sellers I've closed just because I have a picture with Pace? I just use it on an email. I just get creative with it. Pace allowed me, he gave me the right to use his credibility when I first started, which he gave to everybody. He even created that plan. It's literally, if you search it in our private group, is there. He already created it. There is his HUDs, all his properties, blah, blah, blah. And what I used to do is to get creative. Because I've been on his podcast, I will add the link to his podcast with me to sprinkle a little bit of Mamadou. Otherwise, now they only want to talk to Pace, right? And then I put a picture with me and Pace because I'm presenting him as my partner. Yeah. Boom, done. But now I have my own credibility. I've done a lot of deals, so I send my own stuff. I send my HUDs, blah, blah. But guess what? I guarantee you, like I promise you, I only do it maybe one seller out of like 19. Not even. Because I'm so confident on what I say that usually when I address it, it overcomes the objection. Like, for example, well, you know, you're right. I don't know you. Your name is Mama Dow. I don't know where you're calling me from. Plus, when you called me, your number came out as a spam, right? It can be anything, right? Yeah. I'm like, hey, listen, if I was in your shoes, I would feel the same way. So I expect you to feel the same way. And just so you know, every single seller, that's the number one thing to tell me. So just so you know, if we're a good fit, I'll send you anything you need. I'll send you my HUDs, properties we own, my website. You can talk to my attorney. You can talk to sellers that sold me this way. I've had students, Shane, that called me and I gave them my sellers' numbers that they can give to their sellers. Because Pace have done the same thing for me. Yeah. So like leverage the community. Don't overthink the credibility part. Because remember, do they really care about your credibility, or is it it's just an objection? Usually when you overcome it with confidence, guess what? They even forget they ask it to you in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not part of Sub 2 yet, so I'm just in Gator Tribe right now. So I haven't got.
Yeah, you part of Gator, so you have access to all the Sub 2 students you need.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I'm just saying, like when I say network, I don't necessarily mean Sub 2, but like if you're part of the Gator community, you already have mainly Sub 2 students in there. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But don't overthink it. Listen, anytime you reach out to me if you need credit, I'll send it to you. But don't use it as a crutch. That's where people make a mistake.
No. Yeah, no.
The best way to get ghosted by a seller is to send them credibility packages and websites too soon. Do not do that.
Yeah, no, if they ask for it, right?
For some reason, no, even when they ask for it, if it's not the right timing, do not send it. That's what I'm saying. Like you decide when to send it, not them.
That's
part of a closing process. Okay. So when a seller asks it to me too soon and I don't even know yet what price they want, we're not in the same ballpark. I don't know when you're selling, or maybe you're selling in 6 months. I'm not sending you shit right now. Shit. Like my acquisition knows that. And I have a call. I'll try to find it. Did I post it on I'll try to find it. I'll send it to you. Literally where I'm telling the agent, because the agent is asking me all this stuff. Like, send me the website. I said, great. I would love to send you all of that. And I told him exactly why I wouldn't send it. That's right awesome. After I acknowledged, right? I told him, listen, I am absolutely not. Reason being is because I don't know yet if I'm going to be the buyer, right? Secondly, most people that ask this, all they do is shop us around. or they literally ghost. I'm not saying you're gonna do it. I don't mean to offend you, but like until we're a good fit, because I have to go to my transaction coordinator, my admin assistant, tell her to email you something. Now I have to pay her a few bucks. Like I'm not getting into all of that. When we're a good fit, anything you need, even my mom's number, I'll give it to you. Boom, done. It's just an objection. But people are too quick to send it because they think it's going to change something on the seller's motivation. Is actually worse, because now you lose credibility because you were too quick to do what they ask you instead of giving them homework. Remember, whoever controls the call win the battle. Does that make sense? So 100%. Don't send it until you decide is a good fit to send it. Never them. You decide. But address the objection. Tell them whatever they need. When the time is right, you're more than happy to send it over. Boom. When the time is right, you'll know it. When is the time right? You guys are on the same ballpark for the down payment. They're ready to make a decision. They really like you. They want to work with you. All expectations, you set up the upfront contract, all of that. Like, you know when a seller is ready to commit.
Yeah.
I don't overthink it. If they now ask it, send it to them. If they don't ask it again, don't send shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you stay on control on that. That's what I mean by clutch. There's a lot of people that lost a lot of deals. Myself, I've lost 7 deals like that, and that's how I learned. Do not freaking do it. Don't send it too soon. They start ghosting you. You send your offer too soon. They shop you around. So like anything I want to address, let's address it on the phone right now. So it's just objection overcoming. So once I worked on my confidence, and I'm not afraid to lose a deal that was not a deal in the first place, it's like, I don't have nothing to lose. Like, you have something to sell or not? Do you want my money or not? Right? If it's not, perfectly fine. I'll just follow up with you whenever you're ready. So sometimes I'll just, hey, we're not a good fit right now. How about I just follow up with you? I have another seller I'm calling that is ready to sell. Boom. Credibility right there. I'm just, I can tell it to you multiple different ways. I'm just, number one, don't overthink it. Number two, remember you're going to suck 15, 20 times before you get it. Yeah. Number three, if a seller truly have motivation, if you know you're new, just JV with somebody who is a closer, let them deal with that stuff and learn through them instead of losing the seller because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. I think like I said, I'll get to that point with a down payment and it's an objection. And I'm looking at it like, I don't know how to close this guy to bring the right buyer to the table. Right. It's not that. It's not that.
It's not that. It's absolutely not that. It's either they don't have motivation or you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
One of the two. Is never nothing else.
Got it.
Okay, so it's either you didn't do your job or they're not motivated. And if they're not motivated, don't waste your time in the first place. We're in the motivated seller business. Okay, we don't call people and try to get them motivated. All right, we can get them excited and create motivation, but they must have some sort of motivation before you can create extra motivation with creative finance. But if there's zero, you're just gambling with the market, just testing it out. You have all the time in the world. You have the money, completely unreasonable. You also want me to come and wipe your butt. I'm out of the call. It is what it is, right? Because there is another seller waiting for you to solve their problem and you're wasting too much time on that. Just put them on the follow-up and forget about it. Plant the seeds about the follow-up. Hey, just so you know, I'm going to bother you, just so you remember my name. Make it fun. So like you stand out a little bit and just keep them on the follow-up. Once you get stuck, you're like, shit, I know they're ready. Right now, I don't feel confident. Don't kill the deal. Send it to whoever. You can send it to my acquisitions. You can send it to Munif's, whoever you like JV with. Just hand it over to them. Hey, this seller have motivation. That's one thing. Like, don't send me anybody who don't have motivation. I'm not interested in that. As long as you know there is motivation, I'm just stuck on convincing them that this down payment is too high. That's a different conversation because we can overcome an objection. I cannot overcome the lack of motivation.
Yeah.
I can call it out. I can show you why they don't have motivation when I talk to them, but I cannot create motivation or like overcome that. It's not something you overcome. And if they really need the money, that's another objection. There is no way you can overcome it. If they really need it, they need it. Right? So it's either your exit strategy can justify the down payment because they really need it. Doesn't matter. I'm buying a home and they're not BSing, right? It's not a smoke screen. They put it in front of your face. Maybe it's a daughter's wedding. Maybe it's medical bills, whatever. But like you really dug deep and oh man, they really need those funds.
Yeah.
Because they told you what type of home they're buying. They told you how much they put in down. Like they're not like think, how somebody when they're lying, they gotta like think, right? You know that. Like you talk to people all the time. So trust your instinct on this call. That's another thing I'm gonna tell you. Like now I trust my instinct a lot with people. on the phone. Okay. Like you have to, because at the end of the day, we're just having conversations. But if they have this slight motivation, you're like, no, this person has motivation and I feel like they're lying, they don't need the money. Boom, hand it over.
Okay.
Let us try to see if we can do a better job. If we can't, then
What's your acquisitions department if I sent this guy?
I'll send you the link. Can you have my phone, right? Phone number?
Yeah, I think I was texting you. Yeah.
Okay, text me and I'll send you the link.
I think that'll be good. And so I think then the main thing that I came for today was getting clarity kind of on your time frame with your calls and some strategies there. And it sounds like really that first call is like really get deep on their motivation, really understand. And maybe you're just touching on like creative finance if it's obviously a creative finance,
right?
If it's even gonna fit, like if it fits. Okay.
Right. You're doing what we call planting seeds. That's mainly what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. That makes it a lot.
It's a people. Listen, when I wholesaling, right? In general, when I say wholesaling, I don't mean like when you get the deal, you have to wholesale it. But when I say wholesaling is like, because the art of wholesaling is you making your own calls, you calling the sellers, you're talking to them, right? The regular fix and flipper who's just buying deals, they're not doing what we do. So I call that wholesaling. Like you learn the skill through wholesaling. That's why I love wholesaling. Even if I had money, I would still learn the skill. Because today I can go close business owners and buy businesses because of the skill.
Yeah.
Right. So, but anyway, my point is a marketing business, not a sales business. And people forget that. It has nothing to do with sales. Every single time you talk to a motivated seller, I guarantee you don't have to pull teeth. You will know this is a motivated seller.
Yeah.
The other day, I had my little daughter here at probably 8, 9 p.m. Eastern time. A lady, an agent from Vegas, and her seller, and Shub, who's an agent in Atlanta. He make calls. He's always on my virtual office here. Really good friend of mine. He's doing agent outreach. He got stuck because he didn't know how to explain subject to properly, but he knew they're motivated. Okay. When I jumped on that call, I only have to pull teeth like 1 second. After that, it was like we were literally on a Zoom here. I had my baby. We were literally on a Zoom, all 4 of us. So I'm actually going to put that call on my YouTube. And now we're locking it up tomorrow. But the main point is because she's motivated, I didn't have to pull teeth. They were willingly giving me the information. Okay. I didn't have to like at first, and not because of the seller, because of the agent. The agent was like, no, we cannot really give that information, blah, 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 because of my fiduciary, this and that. But luckily the seller was there. And I was like, well, if you don't want to give that, we don't have no conversation to have, because if I don't have that information, I don't know if I can solve the problem. I can talk about these other sellers that we've helped all day long, but I need to know your specific situation to ask. And the seller itself unmuted her mic. She was like, no, I'm just going to give it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, boom, this is a motivated seller. She gave me everything I need. Yeah. And guess what was the question at the end? Mamadou, I literally posted, you'll hear it. Mamadou, this really sounds too good to be true. Like, I'm so excited that it sounds too good to be true. So what tells me, I know you're real. I can see you because we're on Zoom, we're on video. I know you're real, but what, like it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right. So how do I know, like, how do I trust you? You see how it always comes down to like, even though it sounds good, I know you can solve my problem, I'm still afraid because I don't know you from Adam's cats. And I'm handing you over my mortgage. I'm handing you over my life, literally.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, what did I say? I said, number one, it doesn't sound too good to be true if you think about it. I know it sounds too good to be true when I say it. That's because I have a sexy voice. And she was laughing at everything. I'm just kidding. But like, then I said, no, if you think about it, if I take over your mortgage, it's still on your name, right? She said, yes. I said, well, technically, if you think about it, let's say tomorrow I get abducted by aliens, I'm in default. Who's does the bank come after? Do you know?
Well, it would be her because she
could
like, know that you're.
It would be her.
Yeah.
So does really subject to sound too good to be true?
No.
Because when the seller says that, what they're saying is, oh, so you're just taking over everything from me. I no longer have to worry about anything. I'm like, no. You really got to trust me so much to hand me over your mortgage. And you're still liable if I default, if I'm not credible enough, and if I don't have any ethics and morals, I take over your mortgage and I stop paying the mortgage.
Yeah.
So that's where the credibility comes into play. So I expect you to ask that question, but really, if you think about it, it doesn't sound too good to be true. Then she was like, oh, you're so right. I haven't even thought about it. But it's not her job to think about it. It's my job to make her think about it. Because even if she haven't brought it up, I was going to address it before she leaves the call. I was going to say, hey, I think you forgot to ask me a question that sellers ask me all the time.
Do you have a framework you work off of with this? I mean, less of a script and more of a framework?
No, I personally, I use the submarine, the Sandler method. That's what I use. I don't use the Never Split the Difference. I think is the worst book for real estate sales.
No, it's not great for real estate sales, but it is helpful.
It's great for sales.
Yeah, just like
in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've picked up a few things there, but I really like, to me, the Sandler method. I love it.
Check that out.
Okay. The reason being is because in real estate, there is no such thing as me. I just win me. No. You have to create win-win situations. That's the whole point. But what is Never Split the Difference says?
Exactly. There is no win-win.
Exactly the opposite. That works when you're dealing with terrorists and hostages, because that's his background. So I understand where he's coming from. Right.
Yeah.
But in our work, it doesn't work. I'm trying to make sure at the closing table, I have a smile, the seller have a smile.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is, even if they're not getting any penny, but they have to feel like, man, I'm getting so much.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the solution you bring in, the credibility. They really trust you're going to do as you say, and you'll say as you do. And it all comes down to that. No seller will ever work with you because of your name, your accent. I used to have that huge self-complex issue. Every single time a seller tells me no, I feel like it's because I have an accent. Maybe they hate my name. Then one day I was like, dude, like, shut the hell up. You're not confident. Like, I listen to myself and I'm like, you're not confident. Everything they're asking you is like, you talking too fast, you're giving too much information, like you're not addressing the elephant in the room, right? And so that's the only reason why. They don't care who you are. What they care about is, can you perform? Are you gonna say what you do? Are you transparent? And that's all. Like they're gonna sell you because they like you and you have credibility. These are the only two reasons a seller will work with you. Everything else is like they're talking to 300 other people. You're not special.
Right.
Absolutely not special.
Yeah.
And most sellers, like we said again, buyers are liars, but sellers are worse.
Yeah. Always.
So I don't care what the seller said. Do not trust them. The same way they don't trust you until you guys deserve the trust. If you show up at close of escrow, we close, I get the HUD, you get whatever we promised. Now I trust you.
Yeah.
Before that, I don't care what you say. I know tomorrow if somebody call you, they have a sexier voice and they offer you $100 more, that deal is probably gone. So I need to file a memorandum. You see that's how I treat everybody. I've lost too many deals. But this is by experience, Shane. It doesn't come by, like, the more you talk to people, the more you're going to notice the patterns. The more you're going to notice every single seller have the same top 5 questions, every single one of them, when it comes to creative finance, especially subject to.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. You don't have to overthink it. So the more you talk to them, the more those 5 questions is going to become, oh, okay. And then if a seller don't ask it to you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go, oh, you forgot a question. The sellers always ask me. Boom, you're going to bring it up. But in the beginning, you need to go and literally hit your head against the wall and bleed, like, until you get a mark. It is what it is. And I'll give you an advice. Like, I don't know if you're doing it. I used to do it religiously. I still do it today. Every single time I have a call, all my calls is recorded, all of them, especially when it doesn't matter whether I'm home or I'm driving. I literally bought a second phone in my car. It doesn't live there. If I'm driving, talking to a seller, I have it on speaker and I press record. Why? Because I want to go back, listen to my call, see where I messed up. Where can I get caught up next on the next call? Or, hey, you know what? I might catch something that I missed, because active listening is hard because there's so many other things going on. So maybe they said something really important that I can use as my bullet next time. So you have to be your own best critic.
Yeah.
So make sure all your calls as much as you can, because sometimes you're on the move or whatever, so you don't have it. But if you can, record all your freaking calls and make a habit. So I had 1 hour every single day religiously. I have to listen to my calls.
That's brutal, but
And then see how that you have to.
You have to
see, like there's no such thing as But listen, man, Michael Jordan never skipped the basics. Okay, not because he won the rings, but if you go watch him train, you will see he still does the basics because he understands the importance of. So if somebody like Pace Morby, if somebody like Grant Cardone, if somebody, all these high level salespeople we look up to today, if they still role play, if they still listen to their own calls, who are we?
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
sales is a professional thing. It's not a thing like it's a skill, it's a muscle you work, right? And so like practicing role playing every single day is a must. On my team is a must. You don't have, if you're not part of a team, you got to get a role play buddy. If you don't have that, I'm sorry, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You got to
Well, finding the right partner too, right? Like I've kind of jumped in with a group and I'm like, I don't know, like
No, I'm saying what I said is this. If you don't have a group, find a role play buddy. That's what I said.
yeah.
Even the group got to be a good fit.
That's
The
what I'm
role play
saying.
person got to be a good fit.
Yeah.
But the reality is you don't have to like the role play person. You're just looking to role play.
No, exactly. Well, you just need reciprocity, right? That's what you
If
need.
you role play with somebody, you will have reciprocity. If somebody says let's role play on the one-on-one,
Right.
Shane, don't overthink it. Even if they don't have teeth, you don't care. You just want to role play. Okay, don't overthink it. It's not like you guys are gonna become business partners. I'm saying like I used to do it because when I joined Sub 2, I couldn't always make it on the daily dial. We have what is called daily dial and nightly dial. So what I found is I found one person that was willing to hop on a one-on-one with me. Like we set up our own schedule and we just role play for 1 hour. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like I've never done business with him, just so you know, because personality-wise we didn't fit. I don't care. That's not what I'm looking. That's not what I was looking for.
Yeah, no, that makes
I
sense.
role played with my nieces.
Yeah.
So you got to take it that serious.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm actually talking through you because this is gonna go online. So you know, I'm a teacher too at the same time.
No, I think it's really valuable.
But you see what I mean? So don't overthink that part. I don't care what they look like, what their race. If you don't like them as a business partner, just if they said, hey, I'm willing to role play 1 hour per week or 2 hours per week or 1 hour every day or 30 minutes every day, doesn't matter. So guess what I'll tell you what I used to do. You got to find what works for you because my time and stuff was different. Your time is different. I was doing Uber and Lyft. I control my time. I do whatever I want. Okay. I used to do that role play with my battle buddies whenever I can make it because I'm part of Sub 2. I invested. I went Sub 2. I used to go on the daily dial whenever I can in the morning. If I can't, well, I just role play with my battle buddy. Okay. The third thing I used to do is to listen to my own calls, and I still do today. By the way, I'll still role play today. Okay. I listen to my calls, critic myself, take notes. I have like everybody's mind is different. I don't know how you retain information. The way I personally retain information, I write it down. Okay, there you go. Boom. There's something about the pen and paper that God put in it. It's weird. The universe, whatever you call it. But like I retain, as soon as I do that, like it stays in my mind. Okay. So what I used to do is when I listen to my call, I'm, oh shit, next time try this line like this. Next time, blah, blah, blah. That's 3. Number 4, what I used to do is Pace Morby. He has sales calls recorded. Okay. I had this one call that I could really relate to. Reason being is because on that call, he was addressing every single objection you can think of about creative finance on that call. Religiously, I'm not kidding you, religiously, every single morning from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., I was listening to that call. And I still listen to that call today. I can really rehearse like the objection like this. I know what the seller is like. I've listened to it so much that is in my
like a
freaking
movie
head.
that you've seen so many times, you know, all the
This
lines.
was my 4 ways. And
That's
then
really
my nieces was like, I'm just playing with the family. I'm just testing out like what I was reading in the book, Never Split the Difference, not Never Split the Difference. The Sandler method.
Yeah.
I would practice it on them and see if it's working. They don't know, they don't even know that I'm doing it. But I made it as a game and I got really obsessed with it because I don't have any sales background. But one thing, if people could only understand this, and I see every acquisition person, even people that join my team and leaves because it's not a good fit, I see the issue. The issue is they're not understanding, they're not taking this skill seriously, and they're not understanding once you master this skill, you are set for life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As the laziest person, if I was the freaking laziest person on earth right now, I can sit back in my little kitchen, little apartment here, which I'm renting, even though I own real estate. I can sit here and make a minimum of $20,000 a month with this skill. I'm never punching a clock again. My daughters, if they don't want to, they don't have to.
Yeah.
But let's say I was selfish and I'm just thinking about myself. I can just sit here every single month, make $20,000 like that. That's how serious this skill is. And people don't understand that. You see what I mean? They role play once a week. They never listen to their calls. Okay.
Yeah.
They're so focused on, I want to get my deal to pay my rent. So they don't focus on learning how to solve problems, and they don't care about anybody else but themselves.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
Right.
So when I first started, because I didn't have any sales background, no, when I say sales, I'm using that word like very lightly.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a marketing game. I know for sure if I had certain amount of conversations a day, I will get a deal at some point. Guaranteed. There is no way around it. It's a numbers game. But there's still a skill. The skill is solving problems, building rapport, being genuinely caring about people, because that's what it is at the end of the day. Every single time I've closed a seller, got a check, got a property, is because I literally cared the most. Literally every single time. It was not because I had anything special. They're talking to 300 other people. Okay. But guess what? I've also deals that I lost because maybe they don't like I did everything right, but they don't like my voice. They don't like where I'm from. They don't like my colors. It doesn't matter.
The sky was blue.
You're not going to close every seller. Okay. But when I first started, my goal, Shane, was I want to be able to keep a seller on the phone for 5 to 6 minutes without them hanging up on me. I was playing that game. I wasn't focused on the deal. I know the deal is going to come, but I need to work on my skill. I don't have the skill. It's great to get excited about getting the championship ring, but can you shoot with both your hands and is your feet? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know how to do suicides yet.
Yeah.
You see? So I focused on that. I had to change my mindset because I was so like, I just quit my job, blah, blah. So I was so focused on my first deal that I realized, oh shit. And this actually, I got this click by reading a book. It was the Go Giver book. Oh, this is my problem. I'm so focused on me, mama, do my deal. That number one, I don't have the skill. I'm not solving nobody's problem. But you know how my first deal came to me? That lady, I decided that day, I don't know, for some reason I was in my Uber and I decided, because I had her laptop cash and I couldn't display it. I got so frustrated, she even blocked me. And so I decided, shit, I liked it up too high. I didn't know at the time. So I decided, you know what? I was in my Uber and I don't know, I got like a epiphany or something. I don't know what the heck happened. I was like, you know what? I called her and she blocked me and I called with a different number. And I said, you know what? I'll help you like solve your problem, because I knew what her problem is. She want to move, just got divorced, single mom, 2 daughters or 3 daughters. She's like a homeschool teacher. She just need $3,000 to move. I said, you know what? Even if I don't make a penny out of this, I'll help you move your property. I don't know what happened.
You just felt it.
Right.
Get it.
Guess how much I made on that deal, even though I was willing to make zero. I made $19,000.
Nice.
I signed it, which it was supposed to be a dead deal.
Yeah.
So when I switched my mindset to mama do get a deal to mama do help somebody, for some reason now God was like, yeah, now you understand it, buddy.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't mean like you can help everybody. It doesn't mean everybody's going to like you. But if you just focus on the craft and being consistent, boom.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Yeah.
Okay. So like you got to ask yourself every single week, how many times did I role play this day? How many of my calls did I listen to? Where did I improve? Man, I suck at overcoming this objection, the down payment objection. Boom. Every single time I'm doing a role play, I'm role playing big down payment. I'm role playing big down payment. Okay. If I'm a ball player and I suck at scoring with my left foot, guess what I need to practice? Scoring with my left foot. Same thing. I used to play soccer in Europe, so I know what it feels like, you know, when it comes to this. It's the same thing, okay? So like be super serious about it, because once in 4, 6 months, whatever the time it takes, me personally, it took me 8 months to be like, okay? And I'm still learning I'm not even close to where I can be. Not even close. But like I understood the first thing I need to do is to take this thing very seriously. Secondly, if I master this craft, me, my family, and everybody else is set for life, and I can start being like an asset for other people and not just think about my family, my rent, my blah, blah. I can make enough money to where I can give to charity too, to where I can do this, do that, right? This is the skill we're talking about. So, you know what I mean? So the deal is just the result of how you're looking at things. Does that make sense?
100%. Total gems. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. And anything else you were stuck on?
That you covered a lot of territory.
All right. Well, I hope I did a great job. And let me know if you need anything, just text me.
I will.
If it's
Thank you.
urgent, I'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you.
Okay.
If not, just reset another call. If it's something where like it maybe need a longer conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Let's just kind of get started.
Right.
And
But just whatever we spoke about here, just start implementing that.
yeah.
And I'll guarantee you will see don't get stuck. If you're talking to a seller that have a problem, because that $19,000 I made, guess what? I had to remove myself from my own way. Because I didn't know how to explain. Like I told her, hey, we can maybe take over the mortgage. And I literally just discovered Pace on the Steve Trang podcast.
And you just like threw it out.
And she was like, yeah, I just threw it. I'm like, I need this. I have this new thing. I think we can take over the mortgage. She was like, okay, but how does it work? I'm like, I have no clue. This is literally what I told her.
What would you say? So like, if I call this guy back, who's given me the objection of the, like, hey, I need 200,000 up front, just to open that conversation, just maybe come at it like, hey, I really want to I do. And I actually really seriously do want to help him solve his problem. Like, I don't think he really wants to sell this, but I do get that feeling like maybe he really does need the money. So if I just kind of hone in on that and just figure out like, hey, if you really need the money, just be like, maybe you should just sell on market. I'm a licensed.
Try your plan A. There you go. Boom. Try your plan A. By the way, I'd be more than happy to also help you list it or refer you to somebody else. But try your plan A. But nevertheless, here's the plan B. I'm just going to plant some seeds. And when should I follow up with you? Boom. That should be. And now you set them as a follow-up. Right. Awesome. So that's it. Don't overthink that part. But when you're stuck, just hand it over to somebody else. Let them help you out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So remind me, I'll send you that link. And if I'm ever available, my acquisition, you will always jump on it. So
okay. Yeah, that would be great. And then I'd love to grab this recording because I'll grab the transcript and like review it.
Okay. I have your email, so I'll have Ruth grab it from the cloud and send it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Shannon. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.